Have you ever felt it? That strange, quiet stretch of time when life feels off. Not chaotic, not peaceful, just different. As if something beneath the surface is shifting, yet you can't name it. The voices around you sound hollow. The routines that once grounded you now feel paper thin. Even your ambitions, the very dreams you once chased with fire, taste bland on your tongue. Your mind whispers that something must be wrong because it has been trained to equate progress with constant motion, constant doing. But in truth, this stillness is not the death of movement. It is the womb of transformation. In the quantum world, before a particle leaps into a new state, it enters a strange in-between. Physicists call it a superposition, a moment when every possible outcome exists at once, but none have yet solidified. It is not a pause. It is the most dynamic state imaginable. Right now, you are in that same threshold, a liminal doorway between timelines, where the old self quietly dissolves and the new self is already taking shape in the unseen fabric of the quantum field. Your human mind resists this. It craves proof, steps, visible change. But the quantum doesn't bend to those rules. What you feel is not stagnation. It is the loosening of an old vibrational web, a sacred unraveling. Threads of outdated beliefs are snapping. Energetic contracts you didn't even know you made are expiring, and in their absence you meet the silence. Vast, deep, disorienting. Mystics call this the void, the fertile darkness where seeds of creation are planted before they reach the light. Here your soul rearranges itself to match the future you are calling in. The tools you once relied on will not work here. They belong to the version of you that no longer exists. Your only task now is to breathe into the stillness, trust the invisible architecture forming around you, and remember, the silence is not empty. It is overflowing with quantum intelligence, rewriting the code of your reality in ways your mind cannot yet see. Even science agrees. The brain requires downtime to rewire itself, and as you step into a higher frequency, your nervous system is learning how to hold it. Your brain is quietly rewriting its own map. Old predictive patterns are dissolving, and your body is learning how to rest in a new energetic home. This recalibration is not optional, it is sacred. You cannot carry the restless static of an old timeline into the steady resonance of the new. You must exhale before you can truly inhale. It is like the hush before a symphony begins. The lights dim, the air thickens with anticipation, and the audience leans in, or like the pull of a bowstring before the arrow flies. That tension is not delay, it is the force that will carry you farther than effort alone ever could. Right now, the universe is drawing you back, not to restrain you, but to launch you into a trajectory your willpower could never reach. Yet most people misread this. They panic at the stillness, label the void as a problem, and rush to fill it with the noise of old habits and low-frequency distractions. But the more you resist, the longer you remain suspended between what was and what could be. Those who leap are the ones who lean into the quiet, who see its silence as proof of progress, not absence of it. And when you shift your perspective, when you treat this strange calm as the quantum loading screen for your next chapter, you begin to notice the subtle signs, a conversation that sparks new insight, a sudden release of emotion, a flash of clarity about something that has weighed on you for months. These are not coincidences. They are micro-adjustments in your frequency, aligning you with a reality already forming around you. So if you feel out of place, unsure where you're going, but certain you can't return, congratulations. You are standing in the exact vibrational space where transformation becomes inevitable. And in the moments ahead, I'll show you how to not just survive this phase, but use it as rocket fuel for your quantum jump. Because once you recognize it for what it truly is, resistance dissolves and you move toward your next timeline with clarity, trust, and the magnetic pull of inevitability. One of the great misunderstandings about a quantum leap is that it rarely begins with fireworks or divine signs. More often, it begins with friction, not the loud chaos that topples your world, but the quiet dissonance that makes old skins feel too tight. Relationships once comforting now feel like cages. Work that once fueled you now tastes like ash. Even your own inner voice sounds foreign, as if it belongs to a version of you that has already been left behind. This is the frequency mismatch. The moment your soul accelerates into a higher octave, while parts of your life still hum in the old key. In quantum terms, it is decoherence. When your inner state and your outer reality are no longer in harmony, the tension becomes impossible to ignore, and it's not an error. It is a signal. Your current reality cannot contain the energetic blueprint of where you're going, like trying to run new software on outdated hardware. The system lags, glitches, and eventually crashes. Not because you failed, but because you are ready for the upgrade. And that upgrade is your quantum jump. Have you ever felt as if life has pressed the pause button on you? Not to stop you, but to gather the energy to propel you somewhere far beyond your reach? That strange stillness, the way days feel like they're holding their breath. It's not emptiness. It's the sacred silence before the orchestra plays. The moment the bow is drawn before the arrow flies. Right now, your mind is quietly recalibrating, your body learning a new energetic rhythm. The chaotic echoes of your old timeline cannot follow you into the stability of the new one. They must be released before you can receive. Most people fear this quiet and try to fill it with noise, with old habits, with distractions that pull them backward. But the more you resist, the longer you remain suspended between worlds. Those who make the leap are the ones who lean into the calm, seeing it not as absence, but as proof that the universe is rearranging itself around them. Subtle signs appear, a stray conversation sparking clarity, a sudden emotional release, a truth you've been circling for months finally coming into focus. This is the frequency mismatch phase. Your soul accelerating ahead while parts of your life still move at the pace of your past. Like running the latest software on outdated hardware. Tension builds, not as an error, but as a signal. An upgrade is calling. And here's where the mind rebels. It clings to what's breaking, urges you to patch up what's fading, to restore the familiar. But in the quantum field, restoration of the old is regression. The collapse is not a failure. It is the shedding of weight you cannot take with you. Think of an electron. It cannot half-jump to a higher orbit. It waits until it has absorbed exactly the energy required. Then in an instant, it is there. Your shift works the same way, not through force, not through relentless effort, but through pure resonance, when you release the old so completely that the new can lock in effortlessly. So when friendships, opportunities, or even pieces of yourself seem to fall away, don't ask, how do I get them back? Instead, whisper to life, what is this making space for? That is when your frequency turns from resistance to receptivity. And in the language of the quantum, receptivity is the clearest, most magnetic signal you can send. Receptivity is a clear, open channel, like a lighthouse calling in the exact timeline already attuned to your desire. And here's the paradox. The more you try to hurry the stage, the longer it lingers. Think of it as a gentle decompression chamber, the sacred space between who you were and who you are becoming. In scuba diving, ascending too quickly can give you the bends. Your body struggles to adjust to the sudden change in pressure. Spiritually, the same law applies. Leap too fast without integrating the energetic shifts, and your system will pull you back to stabilize. This is why patience, trust, and presence are not passive. They are the active engines of your jump. So if your life feels half erased, if you're standing in the rubble of what no longer fits while the new form is still invisible, you are not lost. You are on the launch pad. The dissonance you feel is energy-gathering force, ready to propel you into the reality that already exists for you in the quantum field. Your only task is to release your grip on the old boat and let the current of the new one carry you. Because here's the truth. Your quantum jump isn't waiting for the right time. It's waiting for the right you. The moment you stop trying to fix what's leaving and start tuning into what's arriving, the field snaps into place. That's when the shift happens, suddenly, seamlessly, with a sense of inevitability that makes you wonder why you ever doubted. Just before the leap, your emotional world may feel amplified, as if someone turned the volume up on every feeling. One moment, you're buzzing with certainty that something extraordinary is near. The next, doubt slips in, whispering that maybe it's all in your head. This is not moodiness. It's the signature of transition. Your brain, wired for predictive coding, is still running old simulations even as your higher self pulls you toward the new. In quantum terms, you are in superposition, standing in both timelines at once. Your emotions flicker between them, hope and uncertainty, anticipation and hesitation. This oscillation isn't a setback. It's a sign that collapse is near, the moment one reality becomes the only one. The stronger the flicker, the closer you are. And yes, it can feel intense. Your consciousness is scanning every belief, memory, and attachment. Does this belong in the new reality, or is it a relic of the old? Emotions are the body's chemical messengers of change, signaling that you're in uncharted territory. Doubt here doesn't mean failure. It's turbulence, not a crash. Like a plane adjusting to higher altitudes, your task is to ride the currents, not grip the seat in fear. The sooner you let the air carry you, the smoother the journey becomes. Here's a shift in perspective that can change everything. What if your emotions were never good or bad, but simply unique signatures of energy moving through your field? Joy, excitement, fear, uncertainty, they are all currents, each carrying a message about where your focus rests in this moment. When you fight them, you feed the storm. When you witness them, you begin to calm the waters and stabilize the frequency of the reality you're calling in. Spiritually, these amplified emotions are not chaos. They are initiation. It's as if the universe leans in and whispers, "Can you hold your frequency steady even as the winds shift?" Because the timeline you're stepping into will bring its own adventures, challenges, and unknowns. Your ability to remain coherent now is the training ground for thriving later. This isn't a test to pass or fail. It's a strengthening of your vibrational core. One of the most potent ways to anchor this stability is through conscious neutrality. When excitement rises, don't cling to it as proof you're on track. When doubt creeps in, don't treat it as a sign to retreat. Breathe into both, letting them swirl around you without pulling you under. Like the eye of a storm, still and luminous while the weather changes in every direction. This is emotional mastery, the state of someone on the brink of collapsing fully into their chosen reality. If lately your feelings have been swinging wildly, it's not instability, it's momentum. The quantum field is adjusting to hold you in the frequency of your next chapter. The more gracefully you ride the waves, the faster the oscillation dissolves into one clear, solid timeline. And here's the truth most people miss. The final stretch before a quantum leap isn't the universe grading you from above. It's your subconscious running a final diagnostic. Old fragments rise to the surface, not to punish you, but to give you one last chance to release them. It's why familiar challenges reappear. An old trigger in a conversation, a money fear you thought you'd healed, a wave of self-doubt that echoes the past. They're not setbacks. They're mirrors reflecting the frequency you used to inhabit. Your choice now is simple but profound. Step back into the old, or walk fully into the new. From a neuroscience perspective, your brain will always reach for the well-worn path first. It's efficient, it's familiar. But when you're standing on the threshold of a new reality, those old pathways are like fading bridges. Each time you respond from your higher frequency instead of your old habits, you weaken the old signal and strengthen the new. In quantum terms, that is the collapse of the old probability wave. Until you choose, both versions of you exist. The one tied to the past and the one aligned with your desired reality. The moment you act in alignment with the future you've claimed, the old self dissolves and the new becomes the only frequency you broadcast. This is why the moments before a shift feel so charged. They are the final superposition between who you were and who you are becoming. Spiritually, this moment is less a test than a ceremonial crossing. A silent rite where you stand before the threshold of a new reality, key in hand. The door asks only one thing: to respond from the frequency you have been nurturing. Scarcity meets your gratitude, anger melts in your compassion, doubt dissolves into your steady presence. In that instant, you are not preparing for your new reality, you are vibrating inside it. The field does not grant you permission, it mirrors the truth of who you are. And in this moment, being is everything. The danger lies in misreading the signs. Many see these resurfacing challenges as proof they are slipping backward. If I'm still attracting this, I must be failing. But in truth, the very appearance of these echoes means you have shifted enough for them to be flushed from your field. You cannot release what you have not yet outgrown. The fact that you now see the pattern, pause, and ask yourself how to respond differently is proof you are almost there. Think of it like a flight simulator. Pilots rehearse turbulence so that, in the real sky, they can steady the wings without panic. The final moments before a quantum leap are your simulator runs, conditions that would have once thrown you off course, now inviting you to demonstrate your upgraded state. Pass this test, not by perfection, but by responding from your new frequency. And you are no longer imagining your new timeline. You are inhabiting it. So if tension builds, old faces reappear, or challenges knock at your door, don't assume regression. See it as the clearest sign you are brushing against the very edge of your leap. This is the moment to hold your alignment like a sacred vow, to act as if the jump has already happened. Because in a quantum sense, it has. And when the leap lands, don't expect fireworks. Quantum change rarely arrives with cinematic drama. No triumphant music, no applause, just a subtle absence. One day you notice the fear you used to carry is gone. The problem you obsessed over feels irrelevant. A trigger that once set your chest aflame now passes like a breeze. The shift doesn't announce itself, it simply becomes you. Your mind might whisper, "Was that it?" But that's the nature of a quantum jump. In physics, when an electron leaps to a higher orbit, it does so instantaneously. No climb, no struggle. One moment here, the next there. The old frequency drops away so completely that you can barely recall why it ever felt like home. Neurologically, this is integration. The old pathways fall silent, the new ones light up, until thinking and acting from your higher state becomes your default. This is why so many miss the moment of arrival. It feels as natural as breathing. And that's the point. The version of you who lives here does not see it as a miracle. They see it as normal. Spiritually, this quiet arrival is not a lesser sign. It is the deepest confirmation you could receive. The resonance of a reality so true that it no longer needs to prove itself to you. It's the universe's quiet way of telling you that you've matched the frequency so completely that there's nothing left to manifest. You're simply living it. In this stage, there's a profound peace, a sense that the chase is over and you've stepped fully into inhabiting your reality. Ironically, it's often when you stop searching for signs that they begin to multiply. Unexpected opportunities, perfectly timed encounters, and synchronicities appearing like breadcrumbs, guiding you forward. The only trap here is the urge to poke the field, to overthink, overvisualize, or second-guess yourself because you believe manifestation must always feel dramatic. That impulse belongs to the old timeline. The new one is defined by flow. Just because the shift arrived quietly doesn't mean it was small. In fact, the quiet ones are often the most enduring because they happen at the level of identity, not just circumstances. Now is the time to lean into embodiment. Stop asking, "Did it work?" and start asking, "How do I fully live as this version of me?" Every choice you make from here strengthens the reality you've already entered. Every action becomes an expression of alignment rather than a push for change. And the quantum field responds to that coherence by weaving new possibilities into your life with seemingly no effort on your part. So if you've been waiting for your leap to feel like an explosion, shift your attention to the subtle markers. The mornings that feel lighter, the conversations that flow easily, the clarity where confusion used to be. These are the true signs of arrival. You're already in your new reality. Your only task now is to keep living from it. And if you've made it this far with me today, it's no accident. You're hearing this because you've already been resonating with a higher timeline. You've tuned into the frequency of the version of you who already has what you've been seeking. This is no longer about getting there. You're already there. Now it's about stabilizing, integrating, and expanding. In quantum terms, your leap was just the beginning. The field responds not to longing, but to coherence. And you've just proven you can hold that coherence long enough to collapse an entirely new reality. The next step is to make that frequency your home, to anchor yourself so deeply in this new identity that it becomes unshakable. No slipping back when life feels quiet. No testing the universe to make sure it's still working. You're not here to force your life into shape. You're here to align with the reality that already contains everything you've ever wanted, and then watch it unfold with a naturalness that feels almost effortless. That's the beauty of living in harmony with the quantum. Stay coherent, stay present, and trust the quiet power of the leap you've already taken. Remember, you're not here to force your life into a specific shape. You're here to stay aligned with the reality that already holds everything you've ever desired, and to let it unfold in the most natural way. That's the beauty of living in harmony with the quantum, where every step forward arises from an inner sense of ease. If what you've just read makes you feel like you're already there, take a moment right now for a small, simple affirmation. Just one sentence like, "I am living in my new frequency." This becomes your subtle marker in the energetic field. And sometimes it's the quiet markers that spark the deepest transformations. If this message resonates, stay connected for more insights like this. Subscribe so you can keep expanding into the life you're already creating.